Welcome, children. In today's class, we are going to learn about animal tissue. Animal tissue is consists of four different types, that is epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscular tissue, and nervous tissue. Epithelial tissue. Epithelial tissue lines up the body surface and cavities and internal organs and the blood vessels. It consists of the cells which are flat, cuboidal, or columnar in shape, and their major function is protection, absorption, secretion, and sensory perception. There are different kinds of epithelial tissue. The first one is squamous epithelium, which is composed of thin, flat cells with prominent nuclei and closely packed cells. It, it is found in the lining of the mouth and nasal cavities, blood vessels, and lymph vessels. And their major function is to protect the underlying parts from mechanical injury, harmful chemicals, and drying up. Stratified epithelium is composed of several layers of the same or different kinds of epithelial cells, and they are found in the skin and cornea. Cuboidal epithelium composed of cuboidal cells, and they are located in kidney tubules, in glandular ducts such as salivary glands, pancreatic ducts, etc. Columnar epithelium consists of vertically arranged cylindrical cells, and they are found in the inner lining of stomach and intestine. They can be of two types, that is ciliated columnar epithelium. These cells have a hair-like projections called cilia, and they are mainly found in the trachea region. So as we inhale air, along with the air, dust particles and germs also enter. So this cilia helps in removing by trapping the germs and the dust particles. Glandular epithelium, it consists of the large cells which secrete certain chemical substances, and it is found in the lining of the stomach and intestine. This is the diagram of the various epithelial cells. Next is connective tissue. As the word suggests, connective means it binds one tissue with another and also connects various organs of our body. So it is of three different types: connective tissue proper, supportive connective tissue, and fluid connective tissue. So let's see the first one, connective tissue proper, which is further categorized into three different categories: areolar tissue, adipose tissue, and fibrous connective tissue. Areolar tissue is found beneath the epidermis of the skin. It makes the skin elastic and helps it to withstand the pulling strain. Next is adipose tissue. It is specially found for storing the fat, and it is found under the skin and around kidneys, eyeball, etc. As it is under the skin, it acts as an insulation for retaining the body heat. Fibrous connective tissue, it is made up of elongated cells which is called as fibers, and these fibers are bundled together by the areolar tissue. So they form two different type of the structures called tendons and ligaments. Tendons helps in binding the muscles to the bones, and ligaments connects one bone with the another bone so that the bones are in position. Next is the supportive connective tissue. The supportive connective tissue is again of two types, cartilage and bones. The cartilage is a non-porous tissue. It has thickened intercellular substance and has no blood vessel or nerves. They are found in the tip of the nose, external ears, trachea, and bronchial tubes, between the vertebrae and at the ends of long bones. Whereas bones are hard porous tissue, It has good supply of blood vessel and nerves and consists of living cells called osteoblast, and it is a storehouse of inorganic salts. These are the various diagrams of cartilage, bones, a single bone cell. Next is fluid connective tissue. Fluid connective tissue is composed of two, that is blood and lymph. The blood is composed of a liquid part called plasma and the cellular part called RBC, WBC, and platelets. And the lymph is the fluid which is white in color. It surrounds the body cells as it is formed of the blood plasma which has oozed out of the blood vessel. These two together help in transportation of oxygen, food, carbon dioxide, excretory products like urea from one region of the body to the where it has to be used up or excreted out of the body. And it also provides immunity against infection. Next is the muscular tissue. The muscular tissue means these muscles which forms our body. So the muscles help in contracting and relaxing and helping in the movement of the body. So these muscles are of three types: striated muscles, unstriated muscles, and the cardiac muscles. The striated muscles are under the control of the human being, and they are made up of long fibers which are nucleated, and striated means having layers. The bands of the cells fibers are running across, and they are found in the arms, legs, face, neck, etc. So, as and when we want, we contract and relax these muscles. Unstated muscles, they are involuntary in nature. That means they are not under the control of the human being. They are found mainly in the internal organs of the body, such as intestine, urinary bladder, muscles of the iris of the eye, etc. Next is the cardiac muscles, which are again a very special type of the muscle which is found only in the heart region of our body. And it is these muscles are striated, uninucleated, and branched, and they is continuously contract and relax. This is the diagram of the muscular tissue. Next is the nervous tissue. This tissue is made up of very special type of elongated cells called neurons or nerve cell. Each nerve cell consists of a cell body called cyton, which has a nucleus in it, dendron with dendrites, and a very long processes called axon. And these axons bundle together and forms a nerve, and these nerves run all over our body and gives us the perception, and we are able to give responses to the various stimuli. This is the diagram of a nerve cell. So children, in today's class you have learnt about the animal tissue. So I hope you have understood. I have a request that you make a chart of the various tissue and write against it its characteristics and location where it is found and its function. It will help you to understand and learn the chapter in a better way. And along with this, you must go through the diagrams, because in the exam you may be asked to identify the diagram. So that's all for today's class.